Hey, we're alive.
We're alive, guys. We're alive. I promise.
I've gotten over the worst of it.
I'm coming into the worst of it. So,
this has been the
weirdest.
Not the sickest I've been, but the weirdest sickness I've had. I want to say that.
Migraines are fun.
Yeah, the headache.
I feel like I got stabbed in the head by a freaking railroad spike. Not being able to think of words, that's fun. Oh, thank you, Audrey.
Hey, Audrey.
I miss you, lady.
Yeah. Can you give me a cough drop? Sorry.
The Rona twins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Tam. Tom was on the phone with us yesterday, and he's all, hey, Calvin. What's going on?
Hi, I'll pull things up in a second. I'm just trying to get a freaking cough
and he's
drop.
all, how's Frank doing? I'm fine.
Hi, Chris.
I'm alive.
All right. So, hey, Carl. Hey, Mikey. Hi, Audrey. And thank you. Yes, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hi, Calvin. Hi, Chris. Rona.
See, and it's not
Hi, Mikey. Hi, Joey. I love you.
Yeah. Yes.
Fuck Kaiser.
Yeah, very much so.
So
let me tell you the story about my mom.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So they gave my mom the runaround, and like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're like, when she started feeling better, they're like, "Oh, you got the Rona." I was like, she could have fucking died. She could have fucking died.
We had to stay up listening to her breathe because there was one night where it was pretty sketchy. She already has breathing problems.
Mm-hmm.
And hi, Raven. Hi, little bit. Are you feeling better?
Yeah. I know. I think I was snoring last night when you guys were doing your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was all ensuing Nordic blast beats. Yes.
So yeah, basically, we're good. She's doing a lot better than me right now.
Yeah.
Poor lady. We ordered the Instacart thing today because I was like, we really need food, and we never got a chance to go out and get it. And
we can't go anywhere right now.
We're quarantined.
10 days.
14.
14?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I'm back at work in 10 days. So.
And then
I'm drinking water tonight. No beers. Oh no, no beers.
I'm drinking coconut water. But yeah, this lady, I sent her a message. I'm like, we have the coronavirus. Hey, Chaos.
Hey, Chaos.
I was like, yeah, we have the coronavirus. Just knock and run.
I think last night we were doing I started doing Chaos.
I tried singing last night. That sucked.
And Liz is like, I'm gonna get ready and go sing, and like I was like, thank you. I was like, I can't hang. I can't. I tried to hang for a minute.
Stop it with the enthusiasm there. I did not come out and go, oh my God, I'm gonna get ready and sing. I said, let them know I'll join them. I got this.
Carl, that was the primary COD for Pam.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I should not put that up.
Hey, Chris. But yeah.
Thanks.
So anyway, I'm off for 10 days now. I hung.
He hung. Hi.
Sid! What's
I'm
going
assuming
on?
Sid. Hello.
I think it's Sid, right? Sid, are you on entertainment tonight? So.
All right.
Yeah.
So I know that we joked around about tonight being the COVID edition.
It is the COVID edition because we have COVID. But.
Okay, so I can put it up. Okay.
Oh, let's put something out there real fast. Take this,
dude.
Take this seriously.
Take it seriously. It's not like we weren't. Hi, Richard. It is Sid.
Sid.
Hey, Natalie.
Sorry.
Hi, Squeaks.
Take COVID seriously for at least the sake of people with pre-existing conditions and elderly people, because
we may have been saying that. We may be saying that this isn't a big deal for us because it's not. I mean, it sucks. I have a massive headache and I want to fucking punch somebody. This is the weirdest
sickness I've had, not the worst.
So. But Frank's mom, who has breathing issues,
she's 75 years old.
She probably should have at least done a breathing treatment, got some kind of inhaler or something.
The doctors would not see her until.
You just have to run through it.
You just got to run through it. That's all they said to her. You got to run through it, and then we'll get your test results back to you. In 3 days, and then 5 days later, they're like, "Hey, you have COVID," basically. And we're like, she's already through the worst of it. She's bawling her eyes out, thinking she's going to die. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's
not with my mom. What the fuck with Kaiser, man?
That's the other thing. while we do recommend taking it seriously, don't go overboard, guys.
Yeah.
Like, she ended up crying because people had played this thing up. She thought she was going to die, even though she was already over most of it.
Yep.
Like, that was bad. That was really bad. And it was more the reaction. Like, honestly, had they told her she had COVID earlier, she probably would have been acting worse.
Yeah.
She probably wouldn't have got through it as well. So, on one hand, it is kind of okay that she went through it not knowing, but I wish we would have known what we were dealing with.
I mean, it's 53-year-old asthma, diabetes. Spent Christmas with Frank's mom, yeah. And then Natalie keeping us in their thoughts. Thank you, Natalie. Mm-hmm. And then Richard said, I avoid people in general. Been doing that since before the pandemic. Yeah, we do the same thing. And the funny thing is we did all the right stuff. We did all the right stuff.
We wore masks. We had hand sanitizer with us.
We stayed away from people when we were at grocery stores and stuff like that. We don't go out. And we still got it.
It's just going to happen. It's like the flu. You're going to fucking get it. Anyway.
Let's get into this.
Let's get into this. So tonight, the Stanford prison experiment. Did you upload the pictures?
No.
Hold on, guys.
I didn't upload pictures.
Give me 1 second here. 1 second. I don't have very many.
Did you?
And hold on.
There's another thing too. I was like, we're doing stuff tonight. I'm not sick enough not to do something. I can't stand not doing something. Especially with me being off from work for 10 days now. And I'm going to go crazy with that, being off from work. And but at least we have everything with Psycho Bunny to keep us busy and everything like that.
So here we go. The Stanford prison experiment. There's some of the people that were in it. This is literally a plaque.
Excuse me, sorry.
Of the site, the location where it was conducted by Dr. Zimbardo. Let's get into this. Yeah, basically, radio said everyone's going to get it. They've played up the mortality rate of it, but it does have to be respected. I agree with all of those statements right there. All right, guys. So the Stanford prison experiment was a social psychology experiment that attempted to investigate the psychological effects of perceived power, focusing on the struggle between prisoners and prison officers. It was conducted at Stanford University on the days of August 14th through the 20th of 1971 by a research group led by psychology professor Philip Zimbardo, Dr. Zimbardo, using college students. In the study, volunteers were assigned to be either guards or prisoners by the flip of a coin in a mock prison, with Zimbardo himself serving as the superintendent. So this is not the one you were thinking of, by the way. The one internal?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's been several.
No, this one in particular was from the 71 one.
Okay.
So blah, 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 blah. Several prisoners left mid-experiment, and the whole experiment was abandoned after 6 days. Early reports on the experiment results claim that the students quickly embraced their assigned roles, with some guards enforcing the authoritarian measures and ultimately subjecting some of the prisoners to psychological torture. While many prisoners passively accepted psychological abuse and by the officers' request, actively harassed other prisoners who tried to stop it. The experiment has been described in many introductory social psychology textbooks, although some have chosen to exclude it because the methodology needs some questioning.
I'm drinking coconut water. It's not beer.
Oh, and by the way, Natalie.
Wait, where were you at?
I'm gonna. No.
Philip Sunford, I bet you money he knew or read people in this experience. Yeah.
So this has to be connected to MK Ultra. Actually,
we might be getting into MK Ultra.
If you go on to our website, where's my phone right now?
No.
Okay.
I can't see.
I can't see anything.
Okay, I don't know where my phone is.
That's not good.
There's my phone.
Go to the website. I can tell you what day we are doing MK Ultra. I thought it was a beer. He's like, what the fuck?
No, I'm seriously not drinking tonight. I know it's like actually one of the few. I haven't actually been drinking since Wednesday because I don't like drinking when I'm sick. Ripley Red. We are going to get into MK Ultra.
Yes, we are.
Oh, that's our Spreaker.
So, by the way, guys, here you go. This is actually our schedule this month and a little bit into next.
Oh, you got it up already?
Yeah, look at that. So, tonight we're doing the Stanford prison experiment. We're going to talk about the guy who jumped off the Eiffel Tower next week. Trying to fly. Didn't work.
This is the next. On the 15th is the one I really want to get into. Joseph Ball.
Yep, Joseph Douglas Ball.
I got that from. We were from.
The song Macabre.
Yeah, Macabre. I was like, oh, we need to get into this.
There's a more important one after that.
Mm-hmm.
Living with a Killer, an interview. You guys do not want to miss this. We will be interviewing somebody who grew up with a murderer as their parent.
I thought we were doing MK Ultra at one point.
MK Ultra, the 29th.
Oh! I can't laugh. I'm dying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So after the interview, the next week is codename Project MK Ultra. It's okay, baby. We'll blame it on the Rona.
If you guys make me laugh, I'll hack all this stuff up in front of you. How about that?
So February 5th is going to be the Rosenhan experiment, which is really interesting too. And I figured since it's the day after
Alcala.
I thought who better after Valentine's Day than the dating game killer?
That'd be cool. By the way, Sunday, February 7th.
It's his birthday.
Mine and Tom's birthday. So you guys send us stuff, please.
Don't die, Frank.
Don't make me laugh. Like I'm holding it down pretty well for the most part, but man, it comes out.
So my fever was taking over, so I have wet hair. I don't give a shit. I'm trying to cool off. All right, so the Stanford prison experiment was a social psychology experiment that attempted to investigate the psychological effects of perceived power, focusing on the struggle between prisoners and officers. Okay. I think I read all of that. I just repeated it in my notes because I'm a derp right now. Okay. The U.S. Office of Naval Research funded the experiment as an investigation into the causes of difficulties between guards and prisoners in the U.S. Navy and U.S. Marine Corps. Weird, right? Certain portions of it were filmed, and the excerpts of footage are publicly available if you guys want to go check those out. They're pretty brutal, actually. I'm assuming Kelly is Maud. Otherwise, hello, Maud, but hello, Kelly. So, the experiment's findings have been called into question, and the experiment has been criticized for unscientific methodology. Although Zimbardo interpreted the experiment as having shown that prison guards instinctively embrace sadistic and authoritarian behavior, Zimbardo actually instructed the guards to exert psychological control over the prisoners. Critics also noted that some of the participants behaved in a way that would help the study, so that, as one guard later put it, the researchers would have something to work with, which is known as demand characteristics. Variants of the experiment have been performed by other researchers, but none of these attempted to replicate the results. And none of them have replicated the results. So Zimbardo's goals. The official website of the Stanford prison experiment describes the experiment goal as follows. We wanted to see what the psychological effects were of becoming a prisoner or a prison guard. To do this, we decided to set up a simulated prison and then carefully note the effects of this institution on the behavior of all those within its walls.
Oh,
Dave Lombardo.
Who put Dave Lombardo? Oh, is that? I think it's Kelly. That's gonna be Kelly. Oh, then my aunt.
I'm like, wait, but does he? Wait. Huh?
Hey, Liz.
Hey, Dorothy.
Hey, Dorothy. Hey, Liz and Frank. How are you feeling? Bring it up with us. How are you feeling?
Wait, hold on. To let you know that 1965 They were looking for my dad worldwide for Kenmore Green, Rosie, and what?
Howard Zimmerman.
In Petulama and San Antonio Road, they found out that the road was... They found out down the road it was a young man that used to work there that he killed them. Wow.
Oh, wow. Why do I feel like this is all going to end badly?
Yes, we are.
We got the Rona, Aaron.
Why do I feel like this is all going to end badly? Yeah, right?
Like, seriously, Aaron, we got COVID.
Oh, the Milgram experiment.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to hide that I was sick with makeup last night. Fuck that, not today.
Yeah, I was like, screw this. I was like, take over. I'm going to go lay down.
So, a 1987 article from the Stanford News Service described experiment goals in a more detailed way. Zimbardo's primary reason for conducting the experiment was to focus on the power of rules, symbols, group identity, and situational validation of behavior that generally would repulse ordinary individuals.
And crystals. They focus on crystals while he was doing it? I can't laugh.
Oh, there's two mods.
Oh!
Mikey said Dave Lombardo. I was like, why would Kelly say Dave Lombardo?
Oh, okay.
You know, Slayer. I was like, why would Kelly say a Slayer member?
You know the worst part about not trying to laugh? You make yourself laugh more. So my lungs just going to fly out in front of everyone is what's going to happen.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yes, weird. You guys are sick of shit and you're still hot. Oh!
Sick of shit. Superman.
Oh. I'm hot. Okay.
No, not Al Milgram.
I was like,
okay, baby. We don't need to read today. You can sit there and look pretty today.
Okay.
I'm joking.
Anyway.
I was going to kiss your cheek, but okay. Now we have double Rona.
Yeah. Spilling all the lung butter.
Lovely.
It's a dry cough.
Right as I kissed him,
I'm just going to hack my lung up is what's
so,
going to happen.
I had been conducting research for some years on de-individuation, vandalism, and dehumanization that illustrated the ease with which ordinary people could be led to engage in antisocial acts by putting them in situations where they felt anonymous or that they could perceive others in ways that made them less human as enemies or objects, Zimbardo told the Toronto Symposium in the summer of '96. All right, that was bothering me. There's a typo.
Whatever those vamps that like to eat phlegm.
Ew. Ew. Double bacon Rona with cheese. What the fuck?
Don't make me laugh.
By the way, guys, I got a new skirt that has suspenders, and I love my suspenders.
Anybody needs some slightly used lungs, I'll swap them out for someone.
All right, so experimental method. Male participants were recruited and told they would participate in a 2-week prison simulation. The team selected the 24 applicants whose test results predicted they would be the most psychologically stable and healthy. These participants were predominantly white and of the middle class. The group was intentionally selected to exclude those with criminal backgrounds, psychological impairments, or medical problems. They all agreed to participate in a 7 to 14 day period and received $15 per day, roughly the equivalent of $95 a day in 2019. The experiment was conducted in a 35-foot section of a basement of Jordan Hall, the psychology building at Stanford. The prison had fabricated walls, one at the entrance and one at the cell wall to block observation. Each cell was 6 by 9 feet, containing only a cot for the prisoners, prisoners were confined 24 hours a day. In contrast, the guards lived in a very different environment, separate from the prisoners. They were given rest and relaxation areas and other comforts. 12 of the 24 participants were assigned the role of prisoner, which was 9 prisoners and 3 potential substitutes, while the other 12 were assigned the role of guard, and this was also 9 with the potential 3 of substitutes. So Lombardo took on the role as the superintendent, and an undergraduate research assistant took on the role of the warden. Zimbardo designed the experiment in order to induce disorientation, depersonalization, and de-individualization. Individualization. Thank you. Can't say that. In the experiments. The researchers held an orientation session for the guards that day before the experiment started, during which the guards were instructed not to harm the prisoners physically or withhold food or drink. In the footage of the study, Zimbardo can be seen talking to the guards. You can create in the prisoners feelings of boredom and a sense of fear in some degree. You can create a notion of arbitrariness, that their life is totally controlled by us, by the system, you, me, and they'll have no privacy. We're going to take that away from them, their individuality in various ways, and in general, what all this leads to is a sense of powerlessness. That is, in the situation, we'll have all the power and they'll have none. That is a direct quote from him. Hey, anyone up for a prison riot? I have authority figure issues. Right? All right, so. Oh, look, I noticed some people dropped off when they noticed that we weren't going to be, like, actual sick. Like, we're sick, but, you know, we're not lying in bed dying.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that whole, I can't hack it tonight, guys.
Oh my God!
No, I made commitments to you people, and we're following through on those commitments.
If we had to, we could have always pushed it, but we're not going to.
I can literally run this show from a hospital bed right now, no joke.
I mean, I would do it.
I would totally do it, is what I'm saying.
We would have to do it like
if I was on a respirator in a hospital with a Rona right now, I would seriously have my phone out. Respirator. You know what I was saying, but I would have my phone out and I would have it on StreamYard and I would be broadcasting to everybody, completing my show because I have obligations.
Okay, you're taking it a little farther.
Okay, sorry. Continue reading.
I'm saying on the ventilator part.
I'm just making a joke. Sorry.
Oh shit. Okay, so the researchers provided the guards with wooden batons to establish their status. Clothing similar to that of an actual prison guard, which was a khaki shirt, pants from the local military surplus store, and mirrored sunglasses to prevent eye contact. Prisoners wore uncomfortable, ill-fitting smocks and stocking caps, as well as a chain around the ankle. Guards were instructed to call prisoners by their assigned numbers sewn on their uniform instead of by name. The prisoners were arrested at their homes and charged with armed robbery. The local Palo Alto Police Department assisted Zimbardo with the simulated arrest and conducted full booking procedures on the prisoners, which included fingerprints and mugshots. The prisoners were transported to the mock prison from the police station, where they were strip searched and given new identities, which is their numbers. The small mock prison cells, were set up to hold 3 prisoners each. There was a small corridor for the prison yard, a closet for solitary confinement, and the bigger room across from the prisoners for the guards and the warden. The prisoners were to stay in their cells and the yard all day and night until the end of the study. The guards worked in teams of 3 for 8-hour shifts. The guards were not required to stay on site after their shift. Guards had differing responses to their new roles. One described by Stanford magazine. One described to Stanford magazine As the most abusive guard, felt his aggressive behavior was helping experimenters to get what they wanted. Yeah. Really, went through a tough love boot camp. It sucks, but if you're stubborn, you'll get through it.
Tough love boot camp? Which mod is this?
I do not know.
Which mod is that? Guards were done. You get the fuck out. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
And let's see. Factors. One is tribalism and teamwork. That is a hereditary group defense mechanism. Another is dehumanizing the other, a personal defense mechanism. Experienced that myself. Oh, the guards. We're done. Let's get the fuck out.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's Natalie. Natalie, you went through a tough love boot camp?
Fun.
I'm not laughing at it. I'm
not laughing at it.
Huh.
My buck teeth. Sorry. All right. So let's see. Another who had joined the experiment hoping to be selected as a prisoner instead recalls, I brought joints with me, and every day I wanted to give them to the prisoners. I looked at their faces and saw how they were getting dispirited, and I felt so sorry for them. The warden, who was David Jaffe, intervened to change the guards' behavior, encouraging them to participate more and become more tough. So the results, after a relatively uneventful first day, on the second day, the prisoners in cell 1 blockaded their cell door with their beds and took off their stocking caps, refusing to come out or follow the guards' instructions. Guards from the other shifts volunteered to work extra hours to assist in subduing the revolt and subsequently attack the prisoners with fire extinguishers without being supervised by the research staff, finding that handling 9 cellmates with only 3 guards per shift was challenging. One of the guards suggested they use psychological tactics to control them. They set up a privileged cell in which the prisoners who were not involved in the riot were treated with special rewards, such as higher quality meals. The privileged inmates chose not to eat the meal in commiseration with their fellow prisoners. Natalie said, yeah, it was in the 80s. It was a boot camp for bad kids.
Yeah, we had a boot camp around here called Camp Owens.
They wanted to send me to one of those. That was fun.
And it was basically the same thing. It's you need to go here because you're being a bad kid or you're listening to that damn punk rock. Pretty much. Let's see.
If you see the enemy as a real person, you're liable to hesitate for a few extra seconds, and then you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
Then been there, done that. Except the other guy died. Duh. All right. So after only 35 hours, one prisoner began to act crazy, as Zimbardo described. Number 8612 then began to act crazy, to scream, to curse, to go into a rage that seemed out of control. It took quite a while before we became convinced that he was really suffering and that we had to release him. The guards forced the prisoners to repeat their assigned numbers to enforce the idea that this was their new identity. Guards soon used these prisoner counts to harass the prisoners, using physical punishment such as protracted exercise for errors in the prisoner count. Sanitary conditions declined rapidly, exacerbated by the guards' refusal to allow some prisoners to urinate or defecate anywhere but in a bucket placed in their cell. As punishment, the guards would not let the prisoners empty the sanitation bucket. Mattresses were a valued item in the prison, so the guards would punish prisoners by removing their mattresses, leaving them to sleep on the concrete. Some prisoners were forced to be naked as a method of degradation. Several guards became increasingly cruel as the experiment continued. Experiments reported that approximately 1/3 of the guards exhibited genuine sadistic tendencies. Most of the guards were upset with the experiment, or that the experiment was halted after only 6 days. Zimbardo mentions his own absorption in the experiment. On the 4th day, some of the guards stated they had heard a rumor that the released prisoner was going to come back with his friends and free the remaining inmates. Zimbardo and the guards disassembled the prison and moved it to a different floor of the building. Zimbardo himself waited in the basement in case the released prisoners showed up, and planned to tell them that the experiment had been terminated. The released prisoner never returned, and the prison was rebuilt in the basement.
Oh, wow.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Joey said that he went to Plies.
And now he's like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Listen to that punk rock. Got to get out of here. And then
Tom said that he went to a school for bad kids. It was actually the best school he went to. You know, I went to one too.
The one for bad kids around here too was actually pretty decent.
I liked the one I went to. I actually graduated early because of it.
A lot of the teachers at those schools,
they're nicer.
Well, it's not that they're nicer. They tend to care more because they're trying to work with you more and stuff like that. You know.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, phlegm. Okay. So, Zimbardo argued that the prisoners had internalized their role, since some had stated they would accept parole, even if it would mean forfeiting their pay, despite the fact that quitting would have achieved the same result without the delay involved in waiting for their parole. Requests to be granted or denied. For their parole request to be granted or denied. This is typed out weird. Zimbardo argued that they had no reason for continued participation in the experiment after having lost all monetary compensation, yet they did, because they had internalized the prisoner identity. Prisoner number 416, a newly admitted standby prisoner, expressed concern about the treatment of the other prisoners. The guard responded with more abuse. When he refused to eat his sausages, saying that he was on a hunger strike, guards confined him to solitary confinement, a dark closet. The guards then instructed the other prisoners to repeatedly punch on the door while shouting at him. The guards said that he would be released from solitary confinement only if the prisoners gave up their blankets and slept on their bare mattress, which all but one refused to do.
Natalie, what does that teach us, kiddos? Absolute power makes make monsters. Yep. That's very true.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I think our Camp Owen is. I don't think it's open anymore either.
Carl has a.
They had a lot of bad stuff happen there, and I think it got shut down too. But the school we were talking about was the school I was talking about was called Vista, and it was actually
I went to Horizon.
So that wasn't a bad camp. It was just a school you got when you got.
Well,
what is it? When you get like kicked out of regular school? Grades. When you get bad grades, continuation school. There you go. Sorry.
So, okay. Carl brought up a good point. In Germany, the Jews in the privileged cell, which was called the capos, they lived pretty well, and all it cost them was driving their comrades to the gas chamber.
Yeah.
They were recycled regularly.
It's fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm. So, Zimbardo aborted the experiment early when Christina Maslick, a graduate student in psychology whom he was dating and later married, objected to the conditions of the prison after she was introduced to the experiment to conduct interviews. Zimbardo noted that of more than 50 people who had observed the experiment, she was the only one who questioned its morality. After only 6 days of a planned 2 weeks duration, the experiment was discontinued.
I always kept thinking this was actually discontinued after only a couple of days, not 2 weeks. Damn.
No, it was discontinued in 6 days.
6 days.
It was supposed to go for 2 weeks.
There you go.
So, conclusions. On August 20th, 1971, Zimbardo announced the end of the experiment to the participants. According to his interpretation of the Stanford prison experiment, it demonstrated that the simulated prison situation, rather than individual personality traits, caused the participants' behavior. Using this situational attribution. The results are compatible with those of the Milgram experiment, thank you, Carl, where random participants compiled with orders to administer seemingly dangerous and potential lethal electric shocks to a shill. The experiment has also been used to illustrate cognitive dissonance theory and the power of authority. Participants' behavior may have been shaped by knowing that they were watched in the Hawthorne effect. It's called the Hawthorne effect, sorry. Instead of being restrained by fear of an observer, guards may have behaved more aggressively when supervisors observing them, not stepping in to restrain them. So it basically gave them permission to continue their bad behavior. Yeah. Zimbardo instructed the guards before the experiment to disrespect the prisoners in various ways. For example, they had to refer to the prisoners by the number rather than the name. This, according to Zimbardo, was intended to diminish the prisoners' individuality. With no control, prisoners learned that they had little effect on what happened to them, ultimately causing them to stop responding and give up quickly. Quick to realize that the guards were the highest in the hierarchy, prisoners began to accept their roles as less important human beings. One positive result of the study is that it has altered the way U.S. prisons are run. For example, juveniles accused of federal crimes are no longer housed before trial in adult prisons due to the risk of violence against them. Shortly after the study was completed, there were bloody revolts at the San Quentin and Attica prison facilities, which, by the way, I am going to address Attica. Lombardo reported his findings on the experiment to the U.S. House Committee on Judiciary. Thank you. You're going to say anything?
No. I'm just waiting for you to get through this.
We have more.
Yeah. You're fine. I wasn't going to say anything.
I was waiting for you to say something.
What did I say to it?
I don't know. So, criticism and response. There's been controversy over both ethics and scientific rigor of the Stanford prison experiment since nearly the beginning. It has never been successfully replicated. French academic and filmmaker. Come on.
Je omelette du fromage. There you go.
Thibault le something. I can't see it with the squigglies. In a 2018 book about the experiment, Story of a Lie, wrote that it could not be meaningfully described as an experiment and that there was no real results to speak of. In response to criticism of his methodology, Lombardo himself has agreed that the Stanford prison experiment was more of a demonstration than a scientific experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
If I get myself laughing, I'm going to start hacking up along real bad. I already did it a couple times.
So from the beginning, I have always said it was a demonstration, except for the name says experiment.
Well.
Okay, so the only thing that makes it an experiment is the random assignment of prisoners and guards. That's the independent variable. There's no control group. There's no comparison group. So it doesn't fit the standards of what it means to be an experiment. It's a very powerful demonstration of a psychological phenomenon, and it has relevance. In 2008, in response to the criticism, Zimbardo wrote a detailed rebuttal on his website. In his summary, he wrote, "I hereby assert that none of these criticisms present any substantial evidence that alters the SPE's main conclusion concerning the importance of understanding how systemic and situational forces can operate to influence individual behavior in negative or positive directions. Often without our personal awareness, the SPE's core message is not that a psychological simulation of prison life is the same as the real thing, or that the prisoners and guards always or even usually behave the way that they did in the SPE. Rather, the SPE serves as a cautionary tale of what might happen to any of us if we underestimate the extent in which the power of social roles and external pressures can influence our actions. In turn, there was a review article, a peer-reviewed article, which videos, records, and notes from the experiment in Stanford University archives to argue that the guards knew what results the experiment was supposed to produce, far from reacting spontaneously to the pathogenic social environment. And the guards were given clear instructions for how to create it. The experimenters intervened directly in the experiment, either to give precise instructions, to recall the purposes of the experiment, or to set a general direction. In order to get their full participation, Zimbardo intended to make the guards believe that they were his research assistants. Since this English language publication, the debate has returned to the media in the United States.
So good now, or Carl.
Hi, Jakim.
Hi.
Hello. Which one?
Well, go to Carl first, and then Natalie.
When you've been in on hierarchical organization, you almost automatically tend to look for your spot when you enter a new one. When I attended the officer classes for the Swedish National Guard, they actually taught a theory on this. This is a danger if you don't have character. This goes even for your peers in a new place. It's formal versus informal leadership. Absolutely.
So Natalie said, I may have missed it, but did these people understand the nature of the experiment prior to being
Yes.
They did. They didn't know. They didn't know
who was going to be doing it.
The guards and the prisoners were picked at random, and that's how many was it? There was 6 and 6, or I'm sorry, there was
12 and 12, but 3 of them on each side were held back for like switching them in.
Okay.
If they needed them.
Yeah. So you basically had 3 guards.
Keep talking.
I'm sorry. You basically had 3 guards for 6 prisoners, and stuff like that. So. And yeah, they didn't know who was going to be what until then, but they did know what
until it came up.
They didn't know what the experiment was. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to take a shot of Nyquil.
Sorry, guys, I need something to drink. So this was in 1971. On a side note, I really hope Ray's doing okay right now. He went back to the hospital.
Yeah, he said he went back in the hospital last night.
So you guys, I know any of you who know what's going on with Damon Baird, keep him in your thoughts. He told us last night, he was going back to the hospital. So yeah.
No, he was in the hospital.
Or he was in the hospital when he was talking to us last night.
Yeah,
sorry.
We were doing the show.
Yeah. So also, this was in August 14th to August 20th of 1971. It was supposed to be a 2-week long experiment, and it only lasted 6 days. Thank you, guys. Hopefully he sees some of this.
I am treating this NyQuil like it's freaking drugs.
Anyway.
Come on. Yeah. I'm all, hi, guys.
Freaking Cheech and Chong when she does the line of Ajax.
I wanted to text. I think it was Rin. I wanted to send her a text, like, got any of that disinfectant? We got the Rona over here.
No, I don't want to cough.
Sorry. Oh, you know what the best part about that is?
I think they did a movie on this too.
They did. It was
SPE.
No, it was on IFC. I saw the movie. The movie was actually fucking great.
Have you ever seen the Bilko experiment?
At the end of the movie,
that was crazy.
Oh, I just drank my NyQuil right out of the bottle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why we didn't was originally we were giving some to his mom.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
And
She likes to lick the bottle too.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Is Frank more fucked up when sober? Yeah. Is that a sign of an alcoholic that when I'm drinking, I'm normal? Fell for you guys. Just got over all the.
Feel for you guys.
Oh, feel free. Oh, yeah.
Oh man, no. Yeah, I'm glad you got over it. Yeah, there's been movies. They actually reopened it, and they reopened the information. A lot of the information I have.
The movie came out on IFC in 2014 or something like that. And sorry,
I was going to finish the sentence.
Oh,
the rebuttal to it came out. Well, I guess almost 3 years ago now, because it's 2021, guys.
Yeah.
And 2018.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, continue.
But the original movie it came out like 2015 or something like that. It was actually really good. They even had because they even went back and interviewed. They did like a therapy session with some of the people, one of the guards, and because there was one short guard who was really, really bad. That's
what I just was mentioning. The guard that was considered to be the worst.
Because he actually in the movie and the book and everything else, he took a Cool Hand Luke approach to everything.
Mm.
And
what we've got here
I love that quote.
Failure to communicate.
I don't want this any more than you.
Some man you just can't reach.
Well, he wants it. He gets it.
So we get what we had here last week, which is the way he wants it.
They actually, he actually did stump one of the guys there. He's all, we were chosen at random to do this, and he's all, if you were picked as a guard, you would have done the exact same thing, which is they pretty much probably would have done it because everyone fell into their role.
Well, that's what they're saying here. Yeah. Is like everybody kind of fell into the role. I don't know. I'm going to get to some. Well, I think it did. Some of the people did have to have therapy sessions afterwards.
That's what
especially the guy who they stripped him naked.
I think that's the one they did have an open session with him between the main guard and him.
Yeah, because the guy that they stripped him naked, it was dehumanizing. It was absolutely dehumanizing that he was sitting there butt naked. And some of the prisoners did try to have like solidarity for him, but they weren't going to be naked.
See, and the craziest thing about this thing, you brought it up here, all they had to do was say, "I quit." Yeah. That's all they had to do. And they wouldn't.
But they had fallen into their roles so well. Yeah,
within just a matter of a day. It wasn't even it wasn't the span of a couple days. It wasn't like about
24 hours and they were barricading
themselves. They were right into it, automatically.
Yeah. Yep. It was as if they were really in prison and they felt like they had no way out, but all they had to do was go, "I'm done."
Yeah.
And then I'm sure there were some people who were like, "I need this money."
They didn't even think about that.
I'm saying some, not all of them. So, treatment of prisoners. Some of the guards' behaviors allegedly led to dangerous and psychologically damaging situations. According to Zimbardo's report, one third of the guards were judged to have exhibited genuine sadistic tendencies, which I think I read already. Many prisoners were emotionally traumatized. 3 of them had to be removed from the experiment early. Zimbardo concluded that both prisoners and guards had become deeply absorbed in their roles and realized that he had likewise become as deeply absorbed in his own role. And that's, when he had terminated it. Yeah, psychology is scary.
Another thing we could actually go into on another episode is coerced.
Well, I want to talk about Attica.
Well, coerced confessions and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Which I remember, Natalie, you were doing stuff on the Memphis 3. And the youngest one in there, it was practically the same thing. The minute they got him into the interrogation room, he just wanted to leave. He wanted to go home. So he was doing everything he could to get back to his house. And he confessed. He made a false confession. And this goes along with the whole psychology of everything like that. People just get right in their roles immediately when they're behind the thing. The vast majority of confessions, they actually say, are pretty much false confessions. So, what's going on?
I'm just typing something up real fast. Attica and San Quentin. If I could type, guys. It wasn't really right. I guess it was riots, huh?
Yeah. It was riot. There was a lot of, I think there was a lot of death too.
Well, it was weird because it was actually the Attica and San Quentin riots happened seemingly as a result of the results of this. Yeah. But yeah, I'll get more into Attica later. I actually was looking into that.
Kind of makes it easier to understand how dictatorships happens. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
People get right into their roles. It's just it's a weird thing. With the minute you can dehumanize someone and you can take their individuality away from them, they go right, which is kind of all stuff we all talk about here.
Shit, my hair's getting curly again.
But yeah, once you dehumanize someone, they just go right into it, So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get through this. I gotta go rest.
All right, so ethical concerns surrounding the experiment often draw comparisons to the similarly controversial experiment by Stanley Milgram, conducted 10 years earlier in 1961 at Yale University, which studied obedience to authority. With the treatment that the guards were giving the prisoners, the guards would become so deeply absorbed in their role as a guard that they would emotionally, physically, and mentally humiliate the prisoners. Oh, man. I was trying to do something. Before I forgot I needed to put on that other list, Milgram.
Oh.
Keep talking.
I'm getting weak here. So. Milgram experiment.
All right, sorry, guys. So each prisoner was systematically searched and stripped naked. He was then deloused with a spray to convey our beliefs that he may have germs or lice. Real male prisoners don't wear dresses, but what? Oh, okay. But real male prisoners do feel humiliated and do feel emasculated. Our goal was to produce similar effects quickly by putting them in dresses without underclothing. Indeed, as soon as some of our prisoners were put in these uniforms, they began to walk and sit differently, to hold themselves differently, more like women than men. Yeah, that's true.
What?
At Attica, there was this like rebel versus non-rebel dynamic with the prisoners.
Huh.
So those that were part of the rebellion and those that were kind of like, guys, can we just stay here and not get in more trouble?
Yeah.
So these guards had taken their role seriously when Zimbardo had assigned them their role. The prisoners were stripped of their identity, of who they were from in the outside world, and were given ID numbers and were only referred to by these numbers as opposed to their names. The paper reports a quote from a prisoner suggesting that it was effective. The quote was, "I began to feel like I was losing my identity."
Wow.
So, reliance on anecdotal evidence. Because of the nature of the experiment, Zimbardo found it impossible to keep traditional scientific controls in place. He was unable to remain a neutral observer. Since he influenced the direction of the experiment as the prison's superintendent, conclusions and observations drawn by the experimenters were largely subjective and anecdotal. And the experiment is practically impossible for other researchers to accurately reproduce. Erich Fromm seemed to see generalizations in the experiment's results and argued that the personality of an individual does affect behavior when imprisoned. This ran counter to the study's conclusion that the prison situation itself controls the individual's behavior. Fromm also argued that the amount of sadism in the normal subjects could not be determined with the methods employed to screen them. Coaching of guards. How much more do we got? We've talked about the guards being coached.
Yeah, I think we pretty much got to the point of all this.
We have 10 minutes. So, as we mentioned before, there was a whole lot of coaching going on here. So there's no way to really call this an actual experiment. I like how Zimbardo did try to backtrack.
Yeah.
And he was like, wait. You're right. I called it an experiment, but it's not an experiment. He tried to say we didn't say it was an experiment, but for fuck's sake, it's called an experiment. But yeah, with there being no control aspect to it, you can't officially call it an experiment. So, one of the things that I did want to mention was Carlo Prescott, who was Zimbardo's prison consultant during the experiment by virtue of having served 17 years in San Quentin for attempted murder, spoke out against the experiment publicly in a 2005 article. He contributed to the Stanford Daily after he had read about the various ways in which Zimbardo and others used the experiment to explain atrocities that had taken place in real prisons. In the article entitled "The Lie of the Stanford Experiment," Prescott wrote, "Ideas such as bags being placed over the heads of prisoners, inmates being bound together with chains and buckets being used in place of toilets in their cells were all experiences of mine at the old Spanish jail section of San Quentin, and which I dutifully shared with the experiment Brain Trust months before the experiment started. To allege that all these carefully tested, psychologically solid, upper middle class Caucasian guards dreamed this up on their own is absurd. How can Zimbardo, and by proxy Maverick Entertainment, express horror at the behavior of the guards when they were merely doing what Zimbardo and others, including myself, encouraged them to do at the outset, or frankly established as ground rules? Like Zimbardo, Prescott has spoken before Congress on issues for prison reform.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that one.
Reminds me of how Sheriff Arpaio made the inmates wear pink. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
in Arizona.
Dude, Arpaio was fucked up, man.
I remember that. And then, having gone through some of the similar situations, I would say from experience that others only have so much control over you if you can separate self-identity from situation. I agree. Yeah, which kind of makes this experiment really scary.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let me skip down. The study was criticized in 2013 for demand characteristics by psychologist Peter Gray, who argued that participants in psychological experiments are more likely to do what they believe the researchers want them to do, and specifically in the case of the Stanford prison experiment, to act out their stereotyped views of what prisoners and guards do. Gray stated that he did not include the experiment in his introductory textbook Psychology because he thought that it lacked scientific rigor. The John Wayne, his name is Dave Eshelman, one of the guards in the experiment, said that he caused the escalation of events between guards and prisoners after he began to emulate the character from Cool Hand Luke.
Yep.
He further intensified his actions because he was nicknamed John Wayne by the other participants, even though he was trying to mimic Strother Martin, who had played the role of the sadistic prison captain in the movie Cool Hand Luke. As he described it, "What came over me was not an accident. It was planned. I set out with a definite plan in mind to try to force the action, force something to happen, so that the researchers would have something to work with. After all, what could they possibly learn from guys sitting around like they were in a country club? So I consciously created this persona. I was in all kinds of drama productions in high school and college. It was something I was very familiar with. To take on another personality before you step out on the stage. I was kind of running my own experiment in there by saying, how far can I push things, and how much abuse will these people take before they say knock it off? But the other guards didn't stop me. They seemed to join in. They were taking my lead. Not a single guard said, I don't think we should do this." In the 2018 rebuttal that Zimbardo wrote, He said that Eshelman's actions had gone far beyond simply playing the role of a tough guard, and that his and the other guards' acts, given their striking parallels with real-world prison atrocities, tell us something more important about human nature. So to me, this guy is just trying to backtrack and be like,
he knows he fucked up with it.
Yeah.
And that it came back to light in the last few years. He's like, fuck. And, he's like, it sucks. It happened. I fucked up. I don't know what else to do here, basically is what he's saying.
Yeah, but he's all, but I don't think that he was just playing a role. And he's like, dude, I was playing a role and I was hoping people would stop me, but I was doing it.
Well, that's actually even more fucked up for him to sit there and say, even the other guy is like, I was playing a role and then no one else came in to stop me, so I just kept playing the role.
Yeah, no, it's fucked up.
You knew what you were doing. Maybe you should have said, I'm not doing this anymore, especially if you had any empathy for these people.
Oh, he didn't seem to.
No, he didn't.
Don't forget shit rolls downhill factor. Anybody who has been in a position where you have both subordinates and superiors knows that there's a serious pressure from above to perform. You tend to push your subordinates very hard and avoid being pushed yourself. Military or civilian, doesn't matter. Imagine being a prison guard. It must be very easy to cross that line to keep order. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing that sucks is that this was, very...
Yeah.
There's a lot of rabbit holes.
Oh,
but the thing with this experiment, which really couldn't be deemed an experiment, is that they took it too far in such a short amount of time without any controls. And then the person running the experiment.
It's almost like they all got all the right people together.
Well, yeah, because they interviewed several people. They picked 24 of them.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, so you're going to be this and you're going to be that. You're going to be this. I don't think it was random who they picked.
They went by personality.
Yeah. So.
I mean, they're saying it's random, but.
I don't think it was random at all.
Okay.
We're almost done. I'm sorry, baby.
We got to be done soon. I'm about to pass out here.
All right, so we're going to end with ethical issues. The experiment was perceived by many to involve questionable ethics. The most serious concern being that it was continued even after some participants expressed their desire to withdraw. Despite the facts that participants were told that they had the right to leave at any time, Zimbardo did not allow this. Since the time of the Stanford prison experiment, ethical guidelines have been established for experiments involving human subjects. The Stanford prison experiment led to the implementation of rules to preclude any harmful treatment of participants. Before they are implemented, human studies must now be reviewed and found by the Institutional Review Board in the U.S. or the Ethics Committee in the U.K. to be in accordance with the ethical guidelines set by American Psychological Association. Can't speak. These guidelines involve the consideration of whether the potential benefit to science outweighs the possible risk for physical or psychological harm. A post-experimental debriefing is now considered an important ethical consideration to ensure that the participants were not harmed in any way by their experience in an experiment. Though Zimbardo did conduct briefing sessions, they were several years after the experiment. By that time, numerous details were forgotten. Nonetheless, many participants reported that they experienced no lasting negative effects. Current standards specified that the debriefing process should occur as soon as possible to assess what psychological harm, if any, may have been done and to rehabilitate participants if necessary. If there is an unavoidable delay in debriefing, the researcher is obligated to take steps to minimize the harm.
No, it's unless you run an MK Ultra.
Yeah, unless you run MK Ultra, which we will get into. With how the results of this experiment had ended, there has been some stir in ethical consequences involving this experiment. This study received so much criticism with the lack of full consent from the participants, with the knowledge from Zimbardo that he himself could not have predicted how the experiment would have turned out to be. With the participants playing the roles of prisoners and guards, there was no certain fact that they would get the help that they need in the process of the study. Zimbardo has come out to explain that he himself never thought this experiment would conclude the way it did.
And that's it.
So basically, Zimbardo fucked up. And he keeps trying, because he's psychology, he's a doctor of psychology. They like to try to backtrack and, justify. There's a reason that they are in psychology, because they are fucked up themselves.
So Natalie said, did they do any psychological profiles on these people? I think they did. I don't, but it was
actually, they grabbed people. Hold on. Oh, I forgot to read this thing. There was actually a part on Nazi experiments, but where is it? I actually had an answer to that. There were male participants recruited. They were told that they were going to participate in a 2-week prison simulation. The team had selected 24 applicants whose test results predicted that they would have the most psychological stability and that they wouldn't crack under pressure easily.
And it turned out they did.
Yeah.
Kiltra. That's a rabbit hole, right? Oh, that's a big dam.
All right, guys.
All right.
We're sick. I need to cook some dinner and
go relax a little bit more.
You're going to sit down there and hang out with me there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, as I mentioned before,
should we
didn't show this. This is what I'm talking about, the stockings on their head. This is commemorating the location of it. Before we go, here you go. Go ahead and go to rootsbleedred.com. It'll link you over to psychobunnydc.com. This is our schedule for the next few weeks, several weeks, I should say. Next week, Franz Reichelt, the man who died jumping off the Eiffel Tower.
So, should we say who we got?
For what?
A new editor?
Guys!
Natalie, is it okay? Do you think we should say it, Natalie? We're waiting.
So, go check out our newest member of the family, Genevieve Revenant.
Creepy Parlor.
From the Creepy Parlor. She is fantastic, guys. She's amazing. She's going to be doing some shows with us now. I'm so excited.
She's fucking rad.
She is so rad. She has some great things coming up. Go check out Creepy Parlor. Go like and follow.
Funny thing was we had a meeting with her the other night.
She is amazing.
Was it Wednesday night? And I was really sick.
Yeah, I said Reichelt.
And I was like, we're not missing this meeting. I was like, we're gonna do this. So, and we talked. Natalie, Liz, and me and her all talked for almost 2 hours. Yeah,
because we like to talk.
And she's rad.
All right. Rad. I think it's time to go.
I think we're out. We'll see you guys
We're
later.
ending early today.
Technically, we're not ending early.
Yeah, we are.
So,
we go about an hour and a half usually.
Yeah. So, all right.
Bye.
Later.